Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Ever feel like your to-do list is running your life instead of the other way around? What if I told you that most people plan a one-week vacation better than they plan their entire lives? And what if the real problem isn't time itself, but how we treat it, trade it, and sometimes waste it? Let me share something that might hit you harder than expected. Most people genuinely spend more energy and attention planning a one-week getaway than they ever do planning out their own lives. Think about that. A few days of fun and relaxation receive more intention and structure than decades of existence. Then, when life doesn't turn out the way they hoped, they act surprised, as if the outcome wasn't shaped by years of neglecting what really matters. The truth is, time management isn't really about time at all. It's about managing yourself. It's about making a crucial decision, one that defines the quality of your future. Are you going to become the master of your time, or will you remain a servant to the ticking clock? Will you intentionally direct the course of your day, or will your day dictate how you feel, how you act, and how you live? Now, let's make this practical. I want to walk you through a few timeless principles that have guided me through the years. Principles that help me make the most out of the limited time I've been given. First, understand this. Time is more valuable than money. You can always earn another dollar. But once a moment passes, it's gone. Forever. That's why I firmly believe time is the most precious commodity in the world. You can never get it back. Not even 1 second. I had a friend once who spent his life chasing dollars. He would work 80-hour weeks, sacrificing sleep, his health, and his relationships, all in pursuit of wealth. And to his credit, by the time he turned 40, he became a millionaire. But by then, his marriage had crumbled. He was estranged from his children, and his body was breaking down from years of stress and neglect. On his 45th birthday, he suffered a heart attack. And as he lay in that hospital bed, pale and weak, he looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Jim, I'd give every penny I have for just one more chance." But that's the heartbreaking truth, isn't it? Some things, once lost, can never be bought back. So remember this. Time is the coin of your life. It's the only coin you truly own, and only you get to decide how to spend it. Be cautious. Don't hand it over to others who would gladly waste it for you. The second principle is just as powerful. Prioritize. Not everything matters equally. I learned early on that the secret to time management isn't about doing more. It's about doing more of the right things. The things that truly move the needle, that reflect your values, that take you closer to your goals. In fact, during my seminars, I often ask people to list their top 10 priorities in life. Then I give them a challenge. Cross out the bottom 7 and commit to focusing only on the top 3. Why? Because you can't do everything, but you can do the most important things. And that's what truly sets successful people apart from those who merely stay busy. The ability to distinguish between what's simply urgent and what's genuinely important. I once knew a young woman who constantly complained about not having enough time to study for her degree. "I'm just so busy," she'd say with a sigh. But when I encouraged her to track her time for a week, the truth came out. She was spending 25 hours watching television. 25 hours. That's enough time each week to complete a course, build a business, learn a new language, or even write a book. But she was pouring that time into entertainment instead of growth. That's why I always say, don't spend major time on minor things. Don't waste $10 worth of effort on a 10-cent problem. Be absolutely ruthless about cutting the non-essential out of your life. Here's the third principle. Learn to say no. And let me tell you, this one was tough for me. I've always been a people pleaser. I wanted to be helpful, to be available, to say yes as often as possible. But over the years, I learned a powerful truth. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Every commitment carries an opportunity cost. Say yes to late-night TV, and you're saying no to a productive morning. Say yes to an unnecessary meeting, and you're saying no to deep, focused work. Say yes to a toxic relationship, and you're saying no to your peace of mind. One of my mentors once told me, "Jim, the difference between successful people and very successful people is this. Very successful people say no to almost everything." At first, I didn't quite get it. It felt counterintuitive. But over time, I began to see the brilliance in that advice. When you say no to things that don't move you forward, you make space for the things that do. Now here's the fourth principle. Develop systems and routines. One of the biggest hidden time wasters in life is having to make the same decisions again and again, what to wear, what to eat, when to exercise. These choices may seem small, even trivial, but collectively, they chip away at your mental clarity, clutter your focus, and drain your energy. Imagine how much smoother your day would feel if you didn't have to wrestle with those decisions every single time. Systems and routines don't limit you, they free you. They give you more bandwidth to focus on what truly matters. That's exactly why I strongly believe in the power of daily routines. When you build intentional routines into your life, you eliminate the constant burden of decision fatigue. You free up precious mental energy that can be redirected toward what truly matters. Routines bring structure, consistency, and efficiency through repetition. They don't just help you get more done, they help you get the right things done. Personally, I start every single day the same way. I wake up at 5 a.m. sharp. I spend the first hour in quiet reading and reflection. Then, I move my body with a 30-minute workout, fuel myself with a healthy breakfast, and take time to review my goals and map out my priorities for the day. By the time most people are still hitting the snooze button, I've already claimed the morning. And when you win the morning, you put yourself in position to win the entire day. Now, I'm not saying you need to copy my routine exactly. We're all wired differently. We have different lifestyles, responsibilities, and rhythms depending on our stage of life. But the key is to find a routine that aligns with your values and your goals, and then follow through with it consistently. That's how discipline becomes automatic. There's another principle I want to share: batching similar tasks. It's a game changer. When you group similar activities together, you reduce context switching, that mental gear shifting that drains energy and breaks your focus. Instead, you build momentum. You enter what psychologists call a flow state, where focus deepens and performance soars. For example, instead of checking your email 50 times a day out of habit, batch that task. Maybe check it twice, once in the morning and once in the late afternoon. Instead of paying bills as they trickle in, set aside a designated time once a month to handle your finances. Instead of bouncing from one random task to the next, group your work by category so you can stay in a productive zone. Now, let's move to the fifth principle: invest in your energy. Time management isn't only about tracking hours and scheduling tasks. It's also about protecting and managing your energy. After all, not all hours are equal. One focused, energized hour can produce more value than 3 hours spent exhausted and distracted. That's why I'm a fierce advocate for self-care. And no, it's not indulgent, it's strategic. Proper nutrition, regular exercise, restful sleep, even practices like meditation, these are not optional luxuries. They are the fuel that drives your productivity. They are the non-negotiable foundation of sustainable performance. I used to fall into the trap of thinking I didn't have time to exercise or sleep. I'd tell myself, I'm too busy, and push those things aside. But eventually, I realized I had it backward. The truth is, I don't have time not to take care of myself. When I move my body, when I sleep well, when I eat right, I'm sharper, faster, more effective. I make better choices, I communicate better, and I show up as the best version of myself. Because in the end, it's not just about working harder. It's about working smarter. And that begins with taking care of the most important tool you own: your body, your mind, your energy. The sixth principle is this: guard your time fiercely. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, more than ever before. Social media pings, emails piling up, text messages, notifications, endless streaming content, and breaking news alerts. It's like every corner of modern life is competing for a slice of your attention. And here's the kicker: most of these distractions are designed to steal your time, intentionally crafted to hijack your focus, often without you even noticing. That's why setting clear boundaries is no longer optional. It's essential. Turn off those constant notifications. Designate specific times in your day to check email or reply to messages. Use tools like website blockers or focus timers if needed. Create a physical and digital workspace that minimizes interruptions. And this part is crucial: communicate those boundaries clearly with the people around you. It's always amazed me that most people would never let someone reach into their wallet and take their money. Yet they allow others to steal their time without a second thought. They get pulled into every coworker's minor crisis, every friend's drama, every ad campaign designed to trigger a dopamine response. But here's the truth: your time is your life. Once it's gone forever. And if you don't protect it, no one else will. The seventh principle is one that took me years to truly accept: learn to delegate. Now, I'll be honest, this one was tough for me. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like things done a certain way, my way. But I came to understand something powerful. If you want to use your time effectively, you must learn to let go. You must be willing to trust others. You must delegate. Ask yourself, is this task really the highest and best use of my time? If it's not, then hand it off. Hire help if you're in a position to. Swap responsibilities with friends or family. Use technology to automate repetitive processes that drain your day. I remember one small business owner who insisted on doing everything himself. Strategy meetings, answering phones, even scrubbing the office floors. His logic? No one else will do it right. But guess what happened? His business never grew because he was the bottleneck. He was stuck doing $10 tasks when he should have been focused on $1,000 thinking. Don't fall into that same trap. Your time is not just valuable, it's irreplaceable. Use it where it matters most. In the areas where only you can contribute, where your unique gifts, insights, and energy make the biggest difference. Now let's talk about the 8th principle. Embrace the power of focus. In a society that glorifies multitasking and celebrates busyness, focus has become one of the most underrated and underdeveloped skills. But here's the brutal truth. Multitasking is a myth. The human brain can't fully focus on 2 tasks at once. What we think is multitasking is really rapid task switching, and that constant switching comes at a cost. It fractures your attention, increases errors, and drains your mental stamina. Multitasking might sound efficient, but it's actually one of the biggest traps we fall into. When you try to juggle several things at once, you end up doing none of them well. Your focus becomes scattered, your energy diluted, and your productivity plummets. Tasks take longer, and the quality of your work drops. It's like pouring water into 5 glasses at once. You end up with a mess and barely any progress. That's why the key is to practice deep work. Instead of constantly switching gears, set aside dedicated blocks of time where you zero in on just one task. Eliminate every possible distraction. Silence your phone, close unnecessary tabs, and give your full, undivided attention to the thing right in front of you. You'll be surprised at how quickly and effectively you can get things done when you're fully immersed in the moment. There's a story I often share to drive this home. A woodcutter was hired to chop down trees. On his first day, he cut down 20 trees. The next day, only 15, then 10. No matter how hard he worked or how long he stayed, his results kept declining. Finally, his boss asked, "What's going on?" Exhausted, the man said, "I don't know. I'm swinging as hard as I can." The boss paused, then asked, "When was the last time you sharpened your saw?" The woodcutter looked up and replied, "I don't have time to sharpen the saw. I'm too busy cutting trees." That story is a powerful reminder. Busyness without reflection leads to burnout and diminishing returns. Sometimes, the most productive thing you can do isn't to push harder, but to stop, step back, and sharpen your tools, your skills, your strategy, and your mindset. Now let's talk about the 9th principle. Learn from your mistakes. Time management, like any worthwhile skill, takes time to master. You're not going to get it perfect from day one. There will be setbacks. You'll have unproductive days. You'll miss deadlines, overcommit, or get distracted, and that's perfectly normal. The important thing isn't avoiding mistakes, it's learning from them. At the end of each day, carve out just a few minutes to reflect. Ask yourself, what went well today? What didn't? Where did I use my time wisely? And where did I let it slip through my fingers? These little daily check-ins help you identify patterns, recognize time wasters, and fine-tune your approach moving forward. I've been studying the habits of successful people for over 4 decades, and here's one thing I've consistently found. They're not perfect time managers. Far from it. They make mistakes just like everyone else. The difference? They don't ignore those mistakes. They study them. They reflect, adapt, and improve. They don't let mistakes define them. They let those missteps refine them. They course correct, adjust, and grow. So if you find yourself falling off track, don't beat yourself up. It's part of the process, not a failure. What truly matters is whether you're learning from the detour and using it to become better, wiser, and more focused next time. Now let's talk about the 10th and final principle. Remember why it all matters. Time management isn't about jamming more activities into your already busy day. It's not about becoming some robotic productivity machine that never slows down. At its core, it's about living with intention. It's about using your limited time to build a life that feels rich with purpose, connection, and meaning. Because here's the hard truth we don't like to face. Your time will eventually run out. Mine will too. We all have an expiration date. And when that day comes, it won't matter how many emails you sent, how spotless your house was, or how much money you earned. What will truly matter is whether you loved deeply, lived fully, and left a meaningful impact behind. So when you sit down to plan your day, start by thinking about the end. What legacy do you want to leave behind? What kind of memories do you want to create with your family, your friends, and yourself? What positive difference do you want to make in the world around you? Then take those answers and align your schedule with them. Because if you're not living in line with what matters most, what are you really managing? I remember a dear friend of mine who was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He was given just 6 months to live. And in one of our last conversations, he said something that stuck with me ever since. Jim, when you know you're dying, life becomes crystal clear. The noise fades, the nonsense disappears, and suddenly, you see what's always been most important. That moment hit me like a lightning bolt. But here's the truth we often ignore. Aren't we all dying? Some of us might know the timeline. Most of us don't. But the clock is ticking for everyone. So why wait for a crisis or a wake-up call to live with that kind of clarity? Why not make intentional, meaningful use of your time starting today? Now let me shift gears slightly and bring something into focus that often gets overlooked when we talk about time management: the role of values. You see, managing your time effectively isn't just about being efficient. It's about alignment. It's about making sure your daily schedule reflects your deepest beliefs and priorities. I often pose this challenge in my seminars. If I followed you around for 1 week and watched how you spent every hour, could I accurately guess your values? It's an eye-opening question, because for so many people, there's a wide gap between what they say they value and how they actually spend their time. We claim that family comes first, yet we routinely work 70-hour weeks. We say health is our top priority, but somehow there's never time for a workout or a home-cooked meal. We claim that exercise is a priority. We say personal growth is important, but then we spend our evenings scrolling endlessly through social media, consumed by trivial distractions. It's revealing, isn't it? Because your calendar doesn't lie. It exposes what you actually value, not just what you claim to value out loud. So take a moment to reflect honestly. Is the way you're spending your time a true reflection of your stated values? Or is there a quiet disconnect between what matters most to you and where your hours are actually going? If so, don't beat yourself up, but do take that as a signal that it's time for a reset. Another element of time management that's often overlooked, but critically important, is the power of saying no. Yes, I've mentioned this before, but it deserves a deeper look. Because let's face it, for many of us, especially those who tend to be people pleasers, saying no feels almost impossible. We fear letting others down. We worry we'll miss out. We carry guilt, obligation, or the need to be liked. But here's a truth that changed everything for me. Every single yes has a cost. And more often than not, that cost is paid in time. Time that could have been spent moving closer to your goals, your growth, your values. One strategy that's helped me is what I call the 24-hour rule. Whenever someone asks for a commitment, I don't respond on the spot. Instead, I say, "Let me think it over and get back to you tomorrow." That pause gives you space to evaluate whether the opportunity aligns with your real priorities and whether you can give it the time and energy it deserves. Remember this. Saying no isn't rude, and it certainly isn't selfish. It's strategic. It's about guarding your time, so you have the capacity to say a powerful yes to the things that actually matter. Now, let's talk about something that quietly eats away at our days, something we all struggle with: procrastination. We all do it. We all know how it sabotages our goals. But until we understand why we procrastinate, it will continue to have power over us. In many cases, procrastination has very little to do with laziness. More often, it's rooted in fear. The fear of failing, the fear of succeeding and not knowing what comes next, the fear of doing it imperfectly, or even the fear of venturing into the unknown. And sometimes, it's just about aversion. We delay tasks that feel boring, overwhelming, or unpleasant. Or maybe we procrastinate because the path forward isn't clear. We don't know where to begin, so we don't begin at all. The antidote to procrastination? It's simpler than most people think. It's action, not massive action, not perfect action, just small, deliberate steps. Start by breaking that daunting task into bite-sized pieces. Set a clear, specific mini-goal. Create some accountability, even if it's just telling a friend. And above all, take the first step. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for inspiration to strike. Motivation doesn't come before action. It follows it. One of my favorite strategies is something I call the 5-minute rule. When I find myself resisting a task, I tell myself, just do it for 5 minutes. Whenever I catch myself procrastinating, I use a simple trick that rarely fails. I commit to working on the task for just 5 minutes. That's it, just 5. And more often than not, something powerful happens. Once I get started, momentum kicks in and I keep going. Why? Because the hardest part is usually not the work itself, it's getting started. Taking that first step can feel like pushing a boulder, but once it's moving, everything gets easier. Now, let's talk about a time management strategy that more people need to embrace: time blocking. It's a simple yet transformative approach. Instead of relying on a never-ending to-do list, you create a calendar where every hour has a purpose. You assign blocks of time for specific tasks, activities, or even rest. This method offers several key advantages. First, it forces you to be honest with yourself about how much you can realistically accomplish in a day. Second, it ensures you make time for every area of your life, not just work, but also health, family, and personal growth. And third, it brings structure to your day, helping to reduce decision fatigue and boost your ability to focus. I suggest starting each morning by planning the next 24 hours using time blocks. Block out time for high-priority work, physical activity, family, meals, and rest. And then, as much as possible, honor that plan. Of course, unexpected things will come up. Life is unpredictable, but having a structure in place allows you to return to your rhythm without falling into chaos. That brings us to another often overlooked, yet vital, part of time management: rest and recovery. In today's hustle-driven culture, we've come to glorify busyness. We brag about working 80-hour weeks, wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor, and respond to emails at 2 a.m. But here's the hard truth. That mindset is not only unsustainable, it's damaging. Your mind and body are not machines. They need recovery time to perform at their best. In fact, science is clear. Rest enhances creativity, improves problem solving, sharpens memory, and boosts overall brain function. That's why I strongly advocate for what I call strategic renewal. This includes getting quality sleep, taking short breaks throughout the day, unplugging on weekends, and carving out time for hobbies and joy. These aren't guilty pleasures. They're smart, strategic investments in your productivity and well-being. I personally schedule rest just as intentionally as I schedule work. I block out non-negotiable time for sleep, for family dinners, for hikes and vacations. I take sabbaticals to recharge my energy and refresh my perspective. And I encourage every person I mentor to do the same. Remember, the ultimate goal of time management isn't just to do more. It's to achieve more. And sometimes, achieving more means doing less, but doing it with greater energy, focus, and purpose. Now, let's address something that keeps countless people stuck, even when they think they're managing time well. Another common misconception about time management is the belief that it's all about discipline and sheer willpower. Now, while both are valuable, they're far from the complete picture. In fact, depending solely on willpower is often a setup for disappointment. Why? Because willpower, much like energy, is a limited resource. It drains gradually as your day unfolds, decision by decision, temptation by temptation. That's why it's far more difficult to resist a sugary snack at 9 p.m. than it is at 9 a.m. Your mental tank is nearly empty by then. You've already battled through dozens of micro-decisions and self-restraints, leaving you depleted. So what's the smarter approach? Instead of relying solely on brute willpower, build systems that reduce the need for it. Think of it as designing your environment to support your goals. Automate recurring decisions, establish solid routines, and intentionally craft your surroundings to make good choices effortless. Let's take a few examples. If your aim is to cut back on social media, don't just hope you'll have the self-control to stay off your phone. Use an app that blocks distracting platforms during work hours. If you want to eat healthier, don't count on willpower to help you resist junk food. Clear your kitchen of it completely and have nutritious meals prepped and ready. And if working out consistently is your goal, don't leave it to chance. Set a fixed workout time and meet a friend who'll hold you accountable. This approach, what I call environmental design, is about making your surroundings work for you, not against you. It's about constructing a lifestyle where good habits flow naturally and bad habits have no room to grow. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer situations where willpower is required. Now, let's turn our attention to a double-edged sword in the realm of time management: technology. It has the power to either become your greatest ally or your most cunning adversary. It all depends on how you use it. On the one hand, technology offers brilliant tools to supercharge productivity. Calendar apps help you stay on schedule. Task managers keep your priorities in order. Note-taking tools, digital banking, online shopping, video conferencing. They've all streamlined what once took hours into a matter of minutes. But here's the catch. That same technology also floods us with distractions. Constant pings from notifications, endless email threads, addictive social media feeds, and entertainment at the tap of a screen. All these compete for our focus around the clock. Studies have shown that the average person checks their phone 96 times a day. That's roughly once every 10 minutes you're awake. Alarming, isn't it? That's why intentionality is critical. Be mindful about how you use technology. Let it serve you, not control you. Choose tools that truly enhance your time and productivity, and deliberately reduce or eliminate the ones that rob your focus. So, start by turning off non-essential notifications. Set clear boundaries around when and how you use your devices. And don't be afraid to unplug completely from time to time. Take regular digital sabbaticals. Intentional periods where you disconnect entirely from screens, apps, and alerts. Why? Because technology should serve you, not enslave you. It's meant to be a tool in your time management toolkit, not a constant thief of your attention and energy. Another crucial principle, and one that's often underestimated, is the value of continuous learning and personal growth. The truth is, the more skilled you become, the less time it takes to produce exceptional work. The more wisdom you gather, the more confident and effective your decision-making becomes. And the deeper your self-awareness, the better you'll be at managing your time and protecting your energy. That's why I urge everyone, regardless of age or profession, to commit at least 30 minutes a day to personal development. Read high-impact books, listen to powerful podcasts, enroll in transformative online courses, attend live seminars, seek out mentors, or even participate in mastermind groups. These daily habits are not time costs. They're time investments. And the returns? They multiply over time in ways you can't yet imagine. One of my favorite quotes comes from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." That's what continuous learning is all about, sharpening your axe before swinging. It's about preparation that makes execution far more effective, precise, and rewarding. Now, let's look at another often overlooked principle, the power of single tasking. In today's world, multitasking is worn like a badge of honor. People boast about juggling emails while attending meetings and responding to texts. But research consistently shows that multitasking is one of the most inefficient ways to work. When you bounce between tasks, your brain doesn't instantly switch. It lags, recalibrates, and tries to refocus. Each of these transitions drains your cognitive energy. What seems like minor mental shifts quickly add up, lowering productivity and increasing the likelihood of mistakes. Even more important, multitasking robs you of the ability to enter a state of flow, that deep, almost meditative concentration where time fades and your best work comes to life. Flow only happens when you're immersed, uninterrupted, and fully present. You're challenged but not overwhelmed, engaged but not scattered. Isn't that the state where your creativity shines brightest? So instead of spreading yourself thin across several activities, practice the art of single tasking. Choose one thing, give it your full attention, and see it through before moving on. You'll find not only greater efficiency, but also deeper satisfaction in the work itself. Lastly, I want to talk about the connection between time management and decision-making. Every single choice you make, what to wear, what to eat, which email to answer, or which path to take, uses up mental energy. And once that energy runs low, the quality of your decisions starts to suffer. That's why it's critical to minimize trivial decisions and preserve your decision-making power for what really matters. Look at some of the world's most effective leaders. Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit every day. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought decades ago. Barack Obama limited his suits to just 2 colors. Why? These aren't eccentric habits. They're deliberate strategies to avoid decision fatigue and maintain clarity where it counts most. Consider where you can simplify and streamline your life. Could you build a capsule wardrobe that eliminates the stress of daily outfit choices? Maybe you could rotate through a set list of meals each week to reduce food decisions. What about automating bill payments or delegating routine tasks that eat up your time and energy? Every small simplification matters. The fewer trivial decisions you have to make each day, the more mental bandwidth you'll preserve for choices that genuinely shape your future, your work, and your well-being. Now, let's talk about one of the most vital tools for mastering your time: the power of planning. Because the truth is, without a plan, your time often gets hijacked, filled with whatever pops up, usually dictated by other people's demands rather than your own priorities. You end up reacting to life instead of leading it. To stay in control, I recommend using a 3-tiered approach to planning: annually, weekly, and daily. Let's start with the annual level. At the beginning of each year, carve out time for reflection. Review your long-term goals and personal values. Ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish this year? Which areas of my life have been neglected and need attention? What new skills or habits do I want to build? This kind of big-picture thinking gives you clarity and sets the direction for everything that follows. It's like setting your GPS before the journey begins. Then comes weekly planning. At the start of each week, ideally on Sunday evening or Monday morning, spend about 30 focused minutes organizing the days ahead. Look at your commitments. Identify your top priorities. Block out time for focused, meaningful work. A well-planned week prevents the daily scramble and helps you avoid falling into the trap of busyness that leads nowhere. You don't just stay busy, you stay intentional. And finally, daily planning. Every evening, dedicate just 10 minutes to prepare for the next day. Choose your top 3 priorities, the tasks that, if completed, would make the day feel like a win, no matter what else happens. Then assign dedicated time slots for them. That small evening habit can bring massive clarity to your mornings and momentum to your entire day. When all 3 levels, yearly, weekly, and daily, are aligned, your actions form a meaningful chain. Each day supports your week, each week supports your year, and your year builds the legacy of your life. Instead of living on autopilot, you're writing a story you're proud of, one chapter, one decision, one intentional action at a time. And let me stress this. Planning doesn't mean boxing yourself into a rigid, joyless routine. It means creating a flexible framework, a roadmap you can follow, even when life throws surprises your way. The goal isn't perfection, it's clarity, direction, and living each day with purpose instead of pressure. Decisions and actions, those are the building blocks of your day. And while life is unpredictable, with its share of emergencies and sudden opportunities, that doesn't mean planning is futile. Quite the opposite. The real purpose of planning is not to eliminate spontaneity, but to help you make spontaneous decisions within a clear framework of purpose and priorities. When you know where you're headed, you're free to navigate detours without losing your direction. Now let's shift gears and talk about something many people overlook: tracking and measuring your time. There's a well-known saying in the world of performance: what gets measured gets managed. And it couldn't be more true when it comes to your time. If you're serious about improving your time management, you need a clear picture of how you're actually spending your hours, not just how you think you spend them. That's why I encourage you to track your time in 30-minute increments for at least one full week. Yes, it might seem tedious, but it's worth it. Write down what you're doing, who you're with, and even how you feel during each block. This exercise is often a game changer. Most people are shocked by what they find. They realize they're spending significantly more time than they imagined on low-value tasks, things that don't truly serve their goals or well-being. Suddenly, those busy days don't seem so productive after all. Once you've gathered this data, analyze it like you would a financial report. Look for patterns. Where are the time leaks? When do you feel most energized and productive? What consistently pulls you off track? Which activities drain your energy or feed your procrastination? These insights are gold. They allow you to make precise, informed adjustments to your schedule and habits. And don't treat this as a one-time experiment. Make it a regular practice. Just as smart companies perform quarterly audits of their finances, you should conduct periodic reviews of your time. Why? Because time is your most precious, non-renewable resource. And only by measuring it can you make sure it's being invested with intention. Now let's talk about the invisible engine behind every productive day: habits. Habits are incredibly powerful because they work beneath the surface. Once formed, they guide your behavior automatically, with little to no conscious effort. That's why I'm such a strong advocate for building positive routines around your time. Think of your morning ritual, your evening reflection, your Sunday planning session. These aren't random, one-off actions. They're pillars. Repeating them consistently helps you conserve mental energy, reduce decision fatigue, and create stability even in chaotic seasons. Over time, these routines evolve into a system of efficiency that runs almost effortlessly. Automatic. But let's be honest, building new habits isn't easy. It's not something that happens overnight. It requires consistency, patience, and a thoughtful strategy. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't see results immediately, but with daily care, it grows into something lasting and impactful. The key is to start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire life at once. Focus on establishing one new habit at a time. Choose a simple behavior that aligns with your goals, and then attach it to a trigger, an existing routine or action that can serve as a cue for your new habit. For example, if you want to start journaling, do it right after brushing your teeth at night. That cue will build consistency. Next, build an accountability. Tell a friend, join a group, use an app, whatever keeps you honest and on track. And don't forget to celebrate small wins along the way. Even completing one day of your new habit is a step forward. And yes, setbacks will happen. That's part of the process. The most important thing is to persist, especially on the days when motivation is low. Remember, habits are like compound interest for your personal development. They don't feel life-changing in the moment, but their power accumulates over time. Day by day, they shape who you become. As Aristotle wisely said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Now let's shift our focus to the close connection between time management and goal setting. Because managing your time, well, isn't just about being busy. It's about being effective. It's about using your minutes and hours to make meaningful progress toward your goals. That's why you need goals that are clear and compelling. They point you in the right direction. They spark motivation. And they help you recognize what truly matters, separating the noise from the necessity. But here's something crucial. Not all goals are created equal. To actually work, your goals should meet the SMART criteria: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Without these elements, a goal is just a vague wish. And beyond the SMART framework, your goals should align with your deeper values and the long-term vision you have for your life. I also recommend setting goals across multiple dimensions: your career, your finances, your health, your relationships, your personal growth, and your contributions to others. Why? Because a balanced life requires attention to more than just one area. If you pour all your time into success at work, but neglect your health or family, you may end up successful but unfulfilled. Once you've established clear goals, use them as a filter for how you allocate your time. Before saying yes to anything, pause and ask yourself, will this move me closer to one of my goals? If the answer is no, think twice. Maybe it's something to delegate. Maybe it's something to skip entirely. Finally, let's talk about something rarely discussed in time management circles: the power of presence. In our constant drive to do more and be more, we often lose sight of what matters most: the quality of our experience. We end up physically in one place, but mentally somewhere else. We might be having dinner with family while thinking about tomorrow's meeting. We may be at work while daydreaming about the weekend. This half-present state robs us. It steals our joy, reduces our productivity, and fractures our relationships. Because when you're split between here and there, you're not fully effective in either space. When you're with your kids, but mentally buried in emails, you're not truly connecting, and you're not solving work problems either. You're just distracted. True productivity isn't about constantly doing. It's about being fully here, giving your whole self to the task or the person in front of you. That's where meaning lies, and that's where real progress begins. It's not about doing more and more things. It's about being fully present in the moments you've consciously chosen to engage in. It's about pouring your complete attention into the task at hand or the person in front of you. That's the real power, not just in doing many things, but in doing the right things with full intention. Practice mindfulness. When you work, truly work. When you play, play wholeheartedly. When you rest, allow yourself to truly rest, without guilt or mental to-do lists. This kind of deep engagement doesn't just boost your effectiveness, it enriches your experience. It transforms ordinary moments into meaningful ones. And isn't that what we're really after? Now, let's clear up a very common misunderstanding. Many people think that time management is all about cramming more into every minute of the day. But that's not the point at all. In fact, one of the most underrated yet powerful time management skills is elimination. It's the ability to look at your schedule and ask, what doesn't belong? Greg McKeown, in his book Essentialism, puts it perfectly. He calls it the disciplined pursuit of less. The idea is not to do everything. It's to do the essential things. By identifying the vital few and courageously eliminating the trivial many, you free up your time, your energy, and your mind for the work and the life that truly matter. I couldn't agree more. The people who manage their time most effectively aren't necessarily doing more. Instead, they're focusing on the most meaningful tasks. They've mastered the art of identifying what really moves the needle and letting go of what doesn't. Because productivity isn't about how many tasks you finish. It's about the impact of what you choose to focus on. So when you review your to-do list or calendar, don't just ask, how can I fit this in? Ask instead, does this deserve space in my day? What can be removed entirely? What can be handed off to someone else? What can be simplified or automated? Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to draw a firm line through a task that's simply not worth your time. Let's also revisit something I mentioned earlier, energy management. It's a concept that's deeply intertwined with time management, yet often overlooked. Not every hour of the day is equal. Your energy naturally rises and falls in cycles, and these fluctuations impact how well you perform different types of tasks. Most people have specific windows of peak energy, usually in the morning or late morning, when they feel sharpest and most mentally alert. These hours are golden. They're the ideal time for tackling complex, high-priority work that requires deep focus and creativity. So, instead of spending those peak hours responding to emails or doing administrative work, why not reserve them for your most meaningful tasks? Understanding your own energy rhythm and aligning your schedule to match it is one of the smartest time management decisions you can make. Feeling most focused and mentally sharp. For many people, that golden window happens in the morning, but it truly depends on the individual. The key is to identify your peak performance period and protect it fiercely. Reserve it for your most meaningful, mentally demanding work, the kind that moves the needle in your life. Likewise, it's just as important to recognize your lower energy times. These are the moments when your mind naturally slows down and your creative spark dims. Rather than push through them with frustration, why not schedule tasks that require less focus during these periods? Administrative chores, emails, or data entry are perfect examples. Or better yet, use these windows to recharge. Take a short walk, grab a healthy snack, or simply pause. You'll return more energized and effective. The real secret lies in working with your natural rhythms, not against them. When you intentionally align your schedule with your energy levels, you'll discover that productivity increases without the exhaustion. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things at the right time in the right state of mind. Now, I want to revisit something we touched on earlier, something foundational yet often overlooked, the importance of values in time management. Your values are your deepest beliefs about what matters most in life. They shape your priorities, influence your goals, and, whether you realize it or not, determine how you use your time every single day. But here's the problem. Most people never clearly define their values. They go through life with a general sense of what's important, maybe family, health, or success, but they haven't taken the time to reflect and truly identify what they stand for. That lack of clarity creates a disconnect. You end up spending your days chasing tasks that may not reflect what you truly care about. So, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what do I genuinely stand for? What are the non-negotiables in my life? The principles I would defend no matter what. These are your core values. Once you define them, use them as your compass. Let them guide how you structure your day, what you say yes to, and what you're willing to let go of. For instance, if family is a core value, then time with loved ones isn't something to squeeze into the leftover hours. It becomes a central pillar of your schedule. If health matters deeply to you, then workouts and meal planning aren't optional. They're scheduled in with the same priority as a business meeting. When your time reflects your values, life starts to feel aligned, balanced, and meaningful. But when your actions betray your values, when you say health is important but never exercise, or say relationships matter but constantly prioritize work, you feel a subtle but persistent tension. It's that inner friction that whispers, something's off. That's the dissonance of misalignment. I also want to spend a moment on a topic that deserves far more attention in conversations about time and performance: rest. In our achievement-driven culture, rest is often misunderstood. It's seen as a weakness, a delay, or even a waste of time. Many of us treat rest like a pit stop we grudgingly allow when we're too drained to keep going. But that mindset is dangerously flawed. Rest isn't the opposite of productivity. It's an essential part of it. Your brain and body aren't designed to operate at full throttle all day, every day. They need cycles of recovery in order to function at their best, solve problems creatively, and make sound decisions. Functioning at its best. Without sufficient rest, your cognitive abilities start to decline, your focus wavers, and your creative thinking takes a serious hit. That's why I'm such a strong advocate for what I call strategic rest. Intentional, scheduled periods where you step away from work and allow your mind to recharge. Strategic rest isn't limited to just getting a good night's sleep, although sleep is undeniably essential. It also includes short breaks throughout your workday, full days off during the week, and planned vacations spread throughout the year. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. And during these periods of downtime, something fascinating happens inside your brain. According to neuroscientists, your brain enters what's known as the default mode network. It's during this time, when you're no longer laser focused on a task, that your brain begins to process information at a deeper level. It connects ideas, organizes memories, and often produces creative insights. Ever notice how your best ideas come while taking a shower or going for a walk? That's no accident. That's your brain doing its behind-the-scenes magic. So, instead of viewing rest as something to feel guilty about, view it as a vital part of your productivity toolkit. Schedule it just like you would an important meeting. Protect it with the same level of seriousness. And most importantly, honor it. Because when you give yourself the gift of rest, you come back stronger, sharper, and more inspired, not just in your work, but in your overall life. Now, let's take a closer look at the role of technology in managing your time effectively. We're living in an era of unimaginable technological convenience. From automation tools and smart calendars to productivity apps and virtual assistants, our devices have the potential to save us hours every single week. And yet, paradoxically, more people than ever report feeling swamped, burnt out, and constantly behind. How can that be? The answer lies in this hidden truth. For every tool designed to save time, there's another silently designed to steal it. For every app that boosts efficiency, there's a new notification demanding your attention. And for every process we automate, new expectations seem to pop up just as fast. That's why being intentional with your tech use is critical. The goal isn't to eliminate technology, it's to master it. Choose the tools that truly support your productivity, streamline your tasks, and give you time back. But also be ruthless about eliminating or limiting the ones that serve as distractions. If an app doesn't make your life easier, it doesn't deserve a place in your daily routine. Set healthy boundaries. Designate screen-free hours. Try regular digital detoxes, moments, or even days where you completely unplug to reset your focus and reconnect with what really matters. Because in the end, technology should be your tool, not your tether. It should empower your attention, not scatter it. It should create breathing room in your life, not flood it with endless noise. Thanks for joining me in this powerful conversation about mastering your time. I hope it sparked reflection, clarity, and the motivation to reclaim your most precious resource. Until next time, I wish you strength, good health, and lasting happiness. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindset Daily for more inspiring insights.